Okay.
Good, Greg? All right, it being 5:30, this is the Tilton Northfield Fire District Commissioners meeting. It's July 14th, 2026. We are in the Tilton Town Hall downstairs meeting room. Those present include Commissioner Ozier, myself, Chief Laney, Deputy Chief Stetson, Kathy, and from the public, Helen. We're expecting Deputy Chief Robinson and Commissioner Wright shortly. Any public comment? Do you have
We're
anything?
going to talk about the status of the RFQ.
We will talk about that.
Okay, so that would let know after that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any other public comment? No. All right, correspondence. I don't know that we have any.
None. There's stuff related to the RFQ and RFP, but they're down in the old business and new business.
Okay. All right, let's move into the chief's report.
All right. Operating budget. From what we're looking at, we're pretty healthy right now. I wouldn't trust that 43.1. We're right at 50% through the year, about 48% through payroll, because of the way the weeks line up. 43.1, but we hadn't paid our insurance. We just paid that. You'll see that in the manifest. So, but I believe we're in a healthy spot in the budget. And the full report is in the back after. This is just a glimpse at everything. Apparatus equipment fund, we're in about the same place, about 42.6%. We're going to have some healthy vehicle maintenance bills come due here soon. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But apparatus equipment fund's doing good. We're stepping off. We don't buy everything at once. We just to make sure we're good throughout the year. But everything's looking good so far. Ambulance revenue's down a little bit. We're $17,648 less than we were through this time last year. I don't know the reason. I was gonna wait and see how it is next month. The June report was much less, but it came out way earlier. So I don't know if Comstar sent it about a week and a half, 2 weeks before they normally send it. And June was the outlier in that. But we also were slower at the beginning of the year as we go to the next page. Obviously in March and then half of April, we hit that lull. Other than that, and so our transports are down, so that could be why our revenue, it's a good explanation for why our revenue is down. If you go to the next page, incident responses, we did 196 in June, did 103 transports. Mutual aid, again, steady pretty even. We provided 9 incidents. We received mutual aid on 12 incidents. That updated report is in your packet. We're still unable to run overlapping call reports. I'm going to try to create it myself. I don't know if I can, but we're going to see what.
You don't have any faith that they're going to come through and be able to.
This needs to come from the state. This report, and the state is down 2 employees out of the 3. So they're because of the hiring freeze and other things. Evie is wonderful. She works with Greg and myself personally a lot, but we can only ask so much of it. She does everybody in the state, and so if they hire those other positions and get it, I would expect it coming forward because that's a report everybody wants, not just this fire department. So if I can't get it soon, I'm going to try to work with Image Trend and create that run report myself. It's a complicated report, so we'll see how it goes. Typically, they build them. We kind of tailor them to what we want. We don't usually build them from scratch.
Do you have a sense for the 12 mutual aids that we received and why?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I can go through. Let's go back to the report.
That seems more than usual. Is that because ambulance down or overlapping calls or?
So I'll just go right through the 12. So that a water rescue we automatically get incident 8. Next one down. So that must unfortunately I don't know if it was that we were down in the ambulance or it was because we had 3 calls going on. But Franklin provided mutual aid for a medical call. Again, another medical call 3 days later. This one, this motor vehicle accident, I know we were down in ambulance during that motor vehicle accident. So that motor vehicle accident was probably because we were down in ambulance.
I think when we were on another call, that's the one up at Planet Fitness, Planet.
Yep, well, that's the next call. So see if you see on 614,
Yeah.
we had two, the 1223 and the 1241. The second call is because we were already in another call, and I believe that first one is because we had more than one patient and we didn't have that second ambulance. Motor vehicle accident with entrapment on the highway. I don't remember, Greg, do you remember that one, if that was because we had too many patients, or? we had to
There
call
was
them?
one where we called because it was a multiple call.
Yeah.
And that might have been it. I think the engine went with the call company and then Franklin went.
Okay.
Actually, the fourth column over, it does, if it's accurately used, it does say in lieu of primary agency or
Yeah.
supporting, so.
We were unable to respond. Next to, I believe that the third from the bottom, that was a building fire that was not one of those, somebody reports a building fire and it doesn't actually happen. And then the next page is the two, a citizen assist and a trauma. Again, I don't know if it's because we were down in ambulance or because we had more than one call going on. We have been down to one ambulance frequently this month, over June and July. I'm gonna get closer to that. We're doing much better as of yesterday, but until yesterday, we have been struggling mightily with our ambulances. But we're in a much better place today, and hopefully tomorrow afternoon, we'll be even in a better place, but we'll see. Did that kind of answer? I know that wasn't perfect, but. So through the year, again, we're down about just over 200 calls. Most of that was March and April. And if you go through, calls go up and down throughout the years. Last year was a very, very busy year. We're still busier than most years. There's only 2 other years besides last year that are busier than this year historically. Water supply. We had no fires to use rural water supply or pressurized hydrants in the district, so none were used there. Firefighter O'Brien, Aiden was really being proactive with our dry hydrants in our cisterns. So last month he did a bunch of maintenance. Like we said, he got out that dry hydrant over at T-Hop. This month he went and used a calculation and drew down the 3 of our cisterns and filled them back up. He's supposed to submit me a report because we don't really have any documentation on how big the cisterns are. We've been told for 25 years they're 30,000 gallons, but we've never actually measured them. And I got concerned, the more we use cisterns in our fire prevention efforts, when I see a 10,000 gallon cistern go in, and then I go look at our cistern, I'm like, that looks like a 10,000 gallon cistern, not a 30,000 gallon cistern. Now, I don't care if the difference is 2,000 gallons, but 20,000 gallons we need to know. He did some calculations, and they seem much closer to 30,000 gallons, so it's good news. I don't have the exact number on them, but he's working on those. The Autumn Drive dry hydrant, which is not one of our owned dry hydrants, but it's a very important dry hydrant because we have nothing up on Autumn Drive. That is the one for the old, what's the Granite State Media Center now? It's called
Granite Mountain Recovery, but
Granite.
now that's closed, and they're in the process, there's maybe a sale going on, so.
But, so that hydrant, we always back flush a hydrant before we pull water through it, just to make sure there's no breaks, because we don't want to pull sand through or anything. And as soon as they started flushing that hydrant, water started coming up from the ground, which means it's a break, so we didn't flow that. That hydrant is not our responsibility to maintain. It has to be maintained, so Deputy Stetson is working with the owners of that and getting that dry hydrant fixed. It could be a significant repair, because it is, I mean, I don't know, how is it, 700 feet long underground pipe. It comes from a cofferdam. If you know that Granite State Media Center building, the old Tilton Sports Center, the cofferdam is in a pond that's held up by a dam behind that building, and that goes off in actually 2 directions. And that's how we get the water for firefighting up there.
It's their responsibility to fix it.
Fix it. We would not be financially
Now,
responsible.
if they did not fix it for some reason, is there a way to make them fix it?
Yep, there is, yeah, and we don't want to get there, and we want
No,
to
we
work
don't.
with them, yeah, yep, so we could, they are responsible to have water for firefighting activities at that building, and if they refuse to fix it, there is processes in place to make them adhere to code and make them fix that.
So the cofferdam is on the back side of the main big building.
Yep, so you have the main
So
building, and
where
then
the old fire pump used to be at Fleischecker's.
it's still there, so that fire pump it's a newer fire pump, but
Yeah.
that fire pump is still there in a separate building.
Okay.
And then if you're looking at the building, you go through the building, you get to that pump at a 45-degree angle. Off from that is the cofferdam.
Yeah.
And when Recovery Mountain came in, they did an excellent job. I had them assess the dam, because if that dam ever broke, they would lose their water supply. So we had them assess that dam, and that dam was deemed safe and adequate because there was concerns about it from an abutter. But they did deem that dam adequate, and then they had an engineering company actually put a camera down and do a whole investigation of that cofferdam, prove that cofferdam was still
Okay.
functioning. Then they actually measured the capacity of that lake for us, so we know how big I'm sorry, not lake, that pond. So we know how big that pond is.
Give
And
a
so-
sense for what that is.
I'd have to look. It was well over 1 million gallons.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. They needed about. I think their water supply was in the 200 to 250,000 gallon range is what they needed, and they had well over 1 million. I could look it up, but yeah. And so that cofferdam not only goes to that fire pump, that goes to a dry hydrant that we use, and another dry hydrant that we've never used. We tested 20 years ago. It was deemed not worthy, but I think Deputy Stetson is talking to them about trying to figure out if we can use that because it's a pressurized hydrant, but it acts as a dry hydrant. We have a couple of those around. So when you drive up to it, it looks like a pressurized hydrant. We have one at Clark Road. We have one on Sanborn Road. We have one at the estate. Is that it, I think?
Yep.
And then probably that one. And it looks like a pressurized hydrant. And the reason for that is because it's lower than the water source. So if you just left it open like a normal dry hydrant, the pond would drain out into the road. So you hook up to it with your your hard suction, open it up, and the water comes out. But you have to draft out of it, pull that suction. There's no pressure behind it. So that Deputy Stetson is working with them to get that repaired, because that's a vital dry hydrant, because there's no water access up there at all. But again, hopefully it's not our financial responsibility, and they will be working on it. And that company was very, very good to work with when they were going through, so I don't foresee any challenges with that. But it just may take time because it's not a small project. So apparatus, I guess I'll talk about the ambulances first. A3 has arrived. My goal was to put it in service July 20th. As you know by my email, A1 has an upper oil pan leak, which is a significant repair. They need to pull part of the motor and part of the transmission to get and repair that. It's mostly labor, but it's a $5,700 cost. We have an estimate on it. I called Lakes Region Fire Apparatus to get their opinion on it, because it seemed excessive to me for an oil pan repair. Glenn from Lakes Region Fire Apparatus, who works on our bigger trucks, he said it sounds right to him. He said it's a significant repair. It happens to all those 6.7 liter diesels from 2017 to 2020. It's a very common occurrence. He said he would not touch it. He would not do it. That's not his purview. It's too much work. He said it should be at a Ford dealer. In his opinion, that estimate was a fair estimate.
That's probably not the first one the dealer's done. That's
Yeah.
the whole point.
Yeah.
Kind of get it dialed in.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we're putting right now that ambulance is still in operation, because I'll get to A2 in a second. We didn't have another ambulance at the time. So we brought it to Irwin's. They said, as long as you keep putting oil in it, feed it, it'll run. You're not going to damage the engine. So we've been going through about a quart of oil a day in that ambulance. We have, everywhere we go, we have a pile of Speedy Dry, and we pick it up and
Keeping the dust down the roads.
yeah. But that ambulance is in service. A2, the 2022 ambulance, we've been having air conditioning problems. It's up at Lakes Region Fire Apparatus for the 4th time now. The back of that ambulance is 90 to 100 degrees. We cannot put a patient in it. It's too hot. And so they got a hold of Horton, the actual manufacturer, and Ford, because it's a Ford and Horton. It's one of those systems that crosses between the two. So it's a pain in the neck because it's not a Ford problem, it's not a Horton problem, it's a both problem. So he's got parts, he's confident, he has a fix for it. We should have that ambulance back tomorrow. So what we did to make sure we have, when we got A3, I called the state. They were supposed to come later on and do the state inspection. I said, can you come and do the state inspection on ambulance 3 so we can put this in service because we're having multiple ambulance issues. They said, I can't, I wanted, this was yesterday, I said, can you come tomorrow? And they said, we can't come tomorrow, but we can be there in an hour and a half. So I called Deputy Stetson and Matt Gilman, who was the captain for the day. I said, can we strip A2 and make A3 a functioning ambulance in an hour and a half? And they said, of course we can. And the two of them, Captain Gilman and Stetson, and Deputy Stetson, and the duty shift, worked together. They stripped A2, made A3 an operating ambulance, so we now have 1.5 operating ambulances. One we still have to put oil in, which is the whole reason we wanted the 3, because when one goes down. So right now, knock on wood, A3 is operating. We're creating a punch list. There is things we want fixed, programming issues, stuff that's expected to be not broken, but not operating right in a new ambulance. So once A2 is back, I'm going to make an appointment to have A1 fixed at Irwin's. Once that's fixed, I'm going to put both of those back in service, take A3 back out of service, and have OME do some work and Horton do some work to get the programming issues with our emergency lights, and there's a radio issue and a few other hiccups we've been having. So we're juggling. It has been a constant struggle with the ambulances, but thankfully we have 3 and we're able to keep 2 in service. If you've been paying attention to the calls, we've had a lot of multiple calls and we've been able to handle them. Utility 1 had a new steering box that was warranty repair. Ladder 1 went up. We had a bunch of repairs done on Ladder 1 and it had its yearly PM completed. Engine 2 had a brake repair. It wasn't a replacement, it was an airline leak and one of the anti-lock brake sensors like extended and rotted, and so they had to just get a new sensor and then put it back in the right place. And A1 oil fill. Personnel, I'll let Deputy Stetson talk about the Swift Water certifications. Old Home Day went great. We had, I think, probably more help than we've had in the past couple of years, Deputy. We made about just under $1,000 for the association. There was a lot of participation. It was a great day. The weather was perfect, and we had full-time and call members come and help out. It was great.
Yep.
The RAND study data, that's for the SB 245 ambulance billing stuff. I have completed all their data requests and sent that to the state. They're supposed to tell you if they need anything more. They haven't got a hold of me, and it's been a couple weeks. So that's good. As I talked about before, we're in the process of updating our mutual aid run cards. I'm working with Adam Sattler from Dispatch, and he's doing the mapping for me now. Once that mapping is done, then we can update those run cards. I haven't heard anything from Northfield about the communications tower. We met a couple months ago, and it's kind of been radio silence since then, but it's really not for us, so I'm kind of letting them drive that. But I wanted to keep you guys in the loop that haven't really heard much from two-way radio on that, or Merrimack County Sheriff's. I know Northfield is hot to trot to get them on there, but we have been, so we're just waiting for them. It's kind of on them right now. Allcom is our representative, and he's available anytime we need him.
Are they, do we need to touch base just to make sure that we're not holding them up in any way?
I can reach out again. I did that before with Ian from Merrimack County Sheriff, but I'm more than happy to reach back out again and just make sure we're not the problem. But I know we're not the problem, but just make sure they're not waiting for something else.
And then on the run cards, is that just tweaking, or are you
making significant changes? Went over with both deputies and all my captains. Currently, for our fire run cards, depending where you are in the district, you get different trucks, and we want that. That's how you want it set up. But you don't always get the same amount of trucks. So right now, if I call a first alarm in Winnisquam, I get a different amount of trucks than if I call a first alarm in the other side of Northfield, like significantly different. And sometimes you get in different ladders and different tankers, and it's a weird mix, and you don't really know. You kind of have to know where in the district what you're getting on a first alarm, second alarm, third alarm, so on. And what we're trying to do is, no matter where in the district you are, when you call a first alarm, you're going to get our engine, 2 other engines, a ladder truck, and an ambulance. It might not be the same ones, because on that side of town, there's different ambulances and stuff that are closer. Same thing over there. But we don't need our staff being like, well, what's a first alarm here? What's a first alarm there? It doesn't really. So we're trying to standardize what a first alarm is, second alarm is, third alarm is. And I think we've done a good job at making that standardization.
So when you're on scene and you call that first alarm, do you have access to that run card data so you know what's coming?
Yes, we have it on our iPads.
We do, but all the officers know. It doesn't,
This is why
they
we
don't,
needed the simplification.
they don't necessarily need to know, oh, am I getting Belmont or Franklin? They just need to know I'm getting 2 more engines. And that's why it's predetermined based on the geography. The other thing that happens too is things change over time, staffing levels change, departments gain or eliminate pieces of apparatus. And so if you don't update your run cards every now and then, you might be going for a truck that somebody
doesn't
sold
exist
10 years ago.
On our mass casualty incident, which brings you ambulances, I think on the second alarm, Twin Rivers ambulance is still on it, and they haven't been on in service in 5 to 10 years, I think. So we're updating that. One of the other things, and knock on wood, I keep saying it out loud and I shouldn't. We did, in our 4th, 5th, and 6th alarm run cards, we were getting trucks that are from unstaffed stations that are further away. I reached out to some mutual aid companies down in the Concord area, capital area, between Bow and Hooksett. Hooksett can be here quicker than you think they can, and so can Bow. So I've added them to the 5th and 6th alarm run cards. Hopefully we never get there, but that way if you're calling a 5th alarm, you need people to come work.
Yeah.
And instead of calling I hate to say, but a volunteer company that's an hour away, I'm calling a full-time company that's 40 minutes away or 30 minutes away.
But back to your question on, do we have access to it? We do. But usually when you're making that decision, you're driving there. Almost 100% of the time, that decision's made while the vehicles are responding, because you're getting reports in. And that's why, with improving the run card, that 3 engine, still, additional engine cover first, 3,
Is this exercise something that should be scheduled?
Probably should be done every 5 years. And I don't think it's been done since Brad Ober was the chief. I think that was the last time. And that's a whole department failure, really, more than it. So this has been on my radar since I was the
Does
deputy.
Lakes Region have any policy about encouraging the departments to update that?
They don't think
information?
they have any policy, but what I can say is that they're very welcome to it. It's very, they're more than accommodating. I know Belmont just did theirs, Laconia just did theirs. They've been great to work with. So they don't think they have any policy on it, but
But it's not like they look at that and call out companies.
no.
They probably should. But anyway. I know somebody I can bring that up.
I got a guy.
Got an in, huh?
You the guy?
Yeah.
I got a guy.
And I'll let Deputy Stetson also talk about this joint active shooter training. He's been doing a lot more of it than I do. So with that, that's the end of my report. Do you have any questions for me? And then the deputy has a section.
Okay, all right. It's taken us a few months. We're trying to coordinate our transition here in reporting. So, to go back to training or to go to training. So in June, the beginning of June, we had the Swiftwater Rescue class certification class that we hosted with Lakes Region's help here in Northfield, and we had 5 members. 5 of the 12 class seats were ours, and so all 5 of those members now have their certification. So that makes all of the full-time staff on the floor, all 16 guys, are Swiftwater Rescue technicians. So this is really important to us. It's critical due to our swiftwater hazards because we have the river, and not only the river, but with that comes flooding, which can happen anytime. And then we have new rivers that aren't usually there. That combined with the lack of swiftwater technicians in other departments, it's really important that we stay on the forefront of making sure that we're taking care of ourselves and that we're encouraging our neighbors to keep up with the training.
How long is the certification good for?
That's an interesting question. So I'll answer your question, and that's going to jump ahead a little bit in some of this discussion. But the 25 years ago, when did the Three Rivers Wet Team?
Yeah.
So the state of New Hampshire had no Swiftwater certification going back to the early 2000s, and so members of this department in the early 2000s in Franklin and Samberton and Belmont got together and said, we need to be prepared for these types of events. We see other parts of the country where people are trained, and around here, when nobody knows what to do, they call the fire department, and we show up, and it may not be right, but we'll do something. And so they said, we're going to get somebody killed, and you were probably on the department when that was going on.
Oh, yeah?
And so they brought in a company called Rescue 3 International, which is a company that goes around the world, and they train, they kind of write the book on this stuff. They're one of the big ones. The state caught on through a lot of pushing. We had some larger scale incidents where we actually got called out of this area, and we started going other places, stretching the boundaries a little bit, because people knew that we had the training, and so the state decided that we should have a state curriculum. So the Rescue 3 says that it's good for 3 years, and then similar to an EMS recertification, they want you to do a continuing education recertification, and then they'll put their stamp on it for another 3 years. When the state wrote a curriculum, and they used basically Rescue 3s, and there was a period of time when you could go to the fire academy and you could get the class, and the state would say that it was good forever, just like our firefighting certifications. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's how it works for firefighting. EMS is kind of the unique part of the fire service where you have to keep up on it on paper. So that doesn't really answer your question. Rescue 3 says it's good for 3 years. What we talked about and we decided is that the state, and I'll be careful, the fire academy, I think because of budgetary constraints, hiring freezes and budgetary constraints, they currently are not offering any multiple disciplines of tech rescue, but specifically ropes and Swiftwater for at least, they have told me, 3 years in communications I've had with the director of the fire academy and the program coordinator for tech rescue. So I sit on the Lakes Region Dispatch Training Committee, and we meet monthly, and that's something that I feel is pretty important because we put our heads together and we say, okay, what are we not getting from the fire academy or not getting enough of that we want more of? And sometimes it's seminars, it's bringing in an outside speaker for an evening or a Saturday. Sometimes it's actually hosting an academy class. So that's what we did with this. The fire academy wasn't willing to put their stamp of approval on it, so we said, okay, that's fine. We'll go back to what we did pre-fire academy. We'll hire the company. But we also do driver operator classes, firefighter 1 classes. No, firefighter 2. I think we haven't done a fire 1 in a while. But we, as neighboring agencies of Lakes Region, we say, if the fire academy can't give us enough of what we need, then we'll get what we can from them, and we'll do our best to fill in the rest. So, to answer your question, we look at the kind of the liability of the liability protection and say, okay, well, what's reasonable? Is it reasonable to have all of our guys be certified once, and then what we do is we do an annual training. We've been doing that anyway. So whether you have the New Hampshire cert that's permanently good, or whether you have the Rescue 3 one, we each year we get together and we spend 2 or 3 days down the river, and we have instructors there, and we do the training, we do the skills, and we document it so that we can say, you know what, we keep up on it either way.
Yeah, we've made the determination now. Our 4 captains are probably the most highly trained Swiftwater rescue techs in the area. They could be instructors anywhere, so we have the people in-house to train them. So once they get the Rescue 3 or the state certification, we're not going back time and time and time again. next year we're gonna actually up our swiftwater rescue in-house training to do a couple times throughout the year. I've already talked to Captain Farrell, who leads our swiftwater team. So we're not gonna send people back, even though Rescue 3 says every 3 years you have to give me this money and we're gonna certify you. We send everybody through the class once, then our guys are gonna train with it. If the state ever brings it back, anybody who doesn't have the state cert, maybe we'll go through that. But we'll worry about that in 3 to 4 years when the state brings that back.
You kind of answered my question, because I was wondering if there was a kind of thing that is, you have certain guys that are instructor level blessed to
Yeah.
fill the gaps and.
Yeah, we have guys who are very.
Yeah, well, that's,
None of them are instructors to teach the class
Right.
for Rescue 3 or the state, but they very much can do the continuing education training like we do down at the training building
Sure.
with fire scenarios, or we do with EMS continuing in. Yeah.
That was a good answer, thank you.
Other than that, Monday night we're doing a normal Monday night training. We're going to go to J. Jill. We've got Franklin, Belmont, Samberton, and Canterbury are all going to bring a truck, and we're going to do a water supply drill. We're just going to use the dry hydrant at J. Jill and the little loop there around the campus to do a small scale rural water supply drill. So it's something we haven't done in a few years, so it'll be good to go through the motions. And
When are you doing that?
this coming Monday night, I think our trainings coincide with the building committee. So maybe once we have new fire stations, you might be able to come.
Well, we moved the meeting,
The third to the
which I think impacts Matt,
Matt. Yeah.
and we moved it to 5 so he can come to the first hour of the meeting.
I've written Matt off. He can choose which one he's coming to, but or he can come to both and be late. Active shooter training. So we in May, and I may have mentioned this before, but it's part of kind of a comprehensive ramp up to bigger picture. So in May, the 3 of us and the 4 shift captains all attended a active shooter incident management class. That was taught right at Tilton PD by one of the police detectives in conjunction with a deputy chief from the fire department in Bristol. They had taken a train the trainer together, so they said, hey, let's host it and bring it back to our own community. So we were fortunate enough to have them come and do that with us. It was good. Overall we're working to improve our preparedness in, God forbid, the event that we have to do something like that. The chief sits on a committee at Lakes Region, so they discuss large-scale planning as a region and how we can be more prepared. But I'm working with Captain Gilman, Firefighter O'Brien, and Detective Murray at the Tilton PD. So we did the initial tabletop incident command training, which at first was like it sounds it would be, anything incident command. It just sounds like you'd like to slam your head in the door. But once we got into it, and once we kind of translated the terminology into what we're used to, I think it made a lot more sense. So July 31st, we're going to do the next step, which is going to be bringing the whole department in, working with the PD, and actually doing a kind of a mid-sized drill where we can actually take it to the next level and put a lot of the tabletop planning into sort of a practical.
Very interesting class, because the outlook has changed. You've got to eliminate the guy doing the shooting at all costs.
Well, from talking about in the budget with replacing equipment, we carry tactical gear, and that was not something that was ever part of any EMT curriculum.
And the big thing that's changed is we used to wait till they dropped the bloody body in front of you.
Yep.
Under guard, we're going in, and the shooting may still be going on.
Yep.
So it's changed.
So July 31st is the next. That's the next step, and then the preparation is next year is going to be an even larger. We're going to bring in a couple neighboring ambulances, but next year it'll be a full-fledged, wide-scale actors and moulage, and it'll be a large-scale MCI drill, active shooter in nature. So that's something that we're working on updating our operating policies when it comes to that, and we just want to be more prepared. that covers it for training. Any questions on that before I move on to fire prevention?
We don't have a copy of that document.
You don't? I made this a couple hours ago. This was just my notes to talk about. So if you want, I can make it less notes and more
Yeah, can you send that
we
out
can.
to us?
Sure. Yeah. Yep. Fire prevention. So we're working to implement a couple of different things. With the addition of David George, we're working to implement compliance. I'll call it inspections, but for commercial occupancy. So we currently do a variety of different types of inspections, and some of the ones that we don't really do are commercial occupancies that don't, that are not places of assembly. They don't serve food or have large crowds or serve alcohol, but they have fire alarm systems and sprinkler systems and fire extinguishers and things that need to be maintained and inspected annually, and typically they are. But what we're doing is just reaching out to them to get the records of all that stuff. So these are places that we don't necessarily need to walk through the whole place, every year, and look at every, test every device and do all that stuff. But it's just a simple, I say it's simple, but it requires a lot of follow-up and poking and prodding. But it's reaching out and soliciting the inspection records for all these types of things. So David has begun doing that, and we're working to develop a list of all the properties so that we can treat it like our other inspections that are on an annual basis and have a spreadsheet and just get them on a rotation so that it's spread out throughout the year.
We have a couple around here. I mean, I'm just trying to think where.
We're talking like building, which ones he's doing, or?
Yeah, placed a couple of, for example.
Oh,
It'd be like Home Depot and
PCC.
Okay.
So we don't necessarily go in there and inspect at Home Depot. Those are places that we don't necessarily go in annually, but they've got a sprinkler system, they've got a fire alarm system, they've got emergency lighting, they've got extinguishers that all need a third-party company to come in and do a test, do an inspection, and we're just gathering the reporting of that, and we're saying, yep, you had your annual testing done, or no, it's been 5 years since you've had the sprinkler company come in and look at your fire pump or your sprinkler heads and all that stuff. So that's just a lot of the places we do go into. We go into schools, we go into places of assembly, the restaurants, and we go around and do that. In addition, we gather all that information in addition to walking around and doing an inspection. But this is a way to maximize sort of, it's kind of a bang for the buck safety-wise. It's a way to, without taking the time to get into every single building in the district, it gets a lot of the things that tells us, yeah,
It's just it's a layer of managing those that should be self-managing.
Yeah.
So that's.
So if you don't know the fire codes, if you take the original fire code, fire NFPA 1 and 101, they say you shall inspect every occupancy every 3 years. So according to code, we would have to go out. New Hampshire has amended the word shall out and put may. So we're not, so it is in the code that we should be at these buildings every 3 years. We don't make it. We don't have time. We can't do all these. So this compliance, it's basically a man-made compliance engine. This compliance engine is just a way to make sure these businesses are just keeping up with their, because if they have a working sprinkler system, working fire alarm system, and working egress doors, then we know that's 98% of the safety in that building, right? There's still a lot of other safety issues, but that'll get people out and put the fire out. So.
So the other big thing that we're working to implement is the multifamily inspection program. So that is one, in contrast, that there's a lot more value in us going out to some of these, especially the older buildings that don't have sprinklers, or maybe they don't have a fire alarm, and they've got 8 or 10, or most of them are 3 or 4 or 5 units in them, and we can go actually into them and make sure that exits aren't blocked and that any emergency lighting does work. If they do have fire alarms and sprinklers, that those are being maintained, and that there's basic electrical safety, and there's not, you're not looking at egregious fire hazards. So that is also something I've gotten. Both towns gave me their tax cards, and so I kind of have to go through them because it depends on how the building is classified, whether it's a commercial building that has some multifamily or it's classified as a multifamily. So I've put a spreadsheet together of what I believe to be all the 3-family and above in both towns, and so we're working on, I'm coming up right now with a letter to send out to all the property owners, because all I have is a mailing address for everybody. So that's going to be, it's going to be a process, because I'll send that out, and as you would imagine, I'm sure, I'm not venturing a guess that, half the people might respond if we were lucky. So it's going to be kind of a progressive process to make contact, and then to get these scheduled and get these on a 3-year rotation. So some of them have been done. I mean, there've been
What's
reasons-
good about this is, like, any long-term owner is going to remember this. So Linda Wilking started this. When we used to have 2 people on fire prevention, we used to do this every 3 years. We went into these multifamily buildings. Myself, when I was the fire prevention assistant, John Powell, when he was the fire prevention, this was a big portion of our job. These buildings have been looked at year after year. So every 3 years we get into every building. In 2013, we dropped the fire prevention assistant, so we went from 2 people in fire prevention to 1. And that was what got kind of axed. We haven't done this since about 2013. Now that we have 2 people in fire prevention again, we're going to be able to ramp it back up. And it's probably the most important inspection we could do. The other ones are mandated; we have to do them. This isn't mandated, but making these places safe for our, the people living in these apartment buildings, especially the 10, 12, 13 unit apartment buildings. There can be some pretty serious fire hazards, and so getting David back into these buildings is going to be awesome.
Plus, if you're getting into like these, even the smaller, the 3 and 4 units, those are older buildings.
Yeah.
That's old stick built. And nobody is building a 3 unit. There's no money in it.
Yeah.
You can't get the investment back. So these are all
Yeah.
been on the books forever.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so that's we're working to get that implemented. So coming soon. Big projects, we have Project Winnie on Business Park Drive. That, if you've driven out there, they're going gangbusters doing dirt work. So we'll be seeing inspections for that coming up soon. Marcia Drive, which is over at it's Pike. It's Industrial Drive, but they have a plan to do 3 buildings. One of them is already up. Commercial buildings with divided up for rental space, but the town with 911 they gave it a new road name. So Marcia Drive. We're working through some water supply challenges. They decided that they do not want to tie into the municipal water system, even though it's very close by. They indicate that it is cost prohibitive and they would rather come up with their own water. So they're working on that, and really, as long as they meet the fire code in terms of the sprinklers and hydrants that are required, we can't tell them how to do it. We just need to make sure that they do it. So
Where is that?
off 140 Pike.
Okay. Is that like one of the old Cormier lots or something?
A little before, where the asphalt plant is?
Yeah.
Same road.
Oh, okay.
You go down to the
Alright,
asphalt
got
plant,
it.
take a left.
Yep. Okay, I talked quite a bit about the inspections that we're doing, but in general, David's working out great. So his 3 days a week, he's taken some burden off me so I can focus more on training and operations, and it's allowed us to expand our, like the chief indicated, get back to where we should be with our inspection and fire prevention capabilities. One of the other things that we've kind of noticed has been handy, I don't think this was really intended, but he's been shuttling vehicles. So if the ambulance is going back and forth to Tamworth and they give us a loaner car, if he doesn't have an inspection scheduled and we say, hey, this needs to go up there right now, then he can do that. He's been able to do that a couple of times, so that's been helpful. It saves us from obviously paying somebody to come in and do it, or having to run short and send somebody from the shift, which we try to avoid doing at all costs. In June, we had 2 fire extinguisher trainings, 2 sessions at Spalding. We trained over 150 people. So I brought in, David and I did one day, and Matt and Dwayne came and helped over the course of the 2 days. So that was very helpful, and it was awesome to see a bunch of people coming through and using the trainer that we have. We did one touch a truck, and we did the fireworks detail for Old Home Day, and I think that's pretty much the activity we had for fire prevention. That's the highlights. I do want to add, we didn't put it in here, we have a new call member in the hiring process. So we've made an offer to somebody who's already a paramedic and a firefighter who works full-time in another community but just bought a house in town. And so he's going through the process. Kathy's getting him squared away with a background check and all that stuff. So
Nice.
that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Anything more, Chief?
No,
Okay. Mike,
No, I'm good.
any questions?
When you said call, remind me where you're at with your lieutenant academy or your board or.
I'm the one slowing down that process. We talked about it.
You're ensuring quality.
Yeah, but I'm getting there.
I just know it's a thing.
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
No, we attempted to meet the other day and they had a conflict, but I've been studying it and making comparisons and
No, good.
we'll have some results for you by next meeting.
Doesn't need to be fast. Just
But thank you for
Just
asking.
needs to be good.
Yeah.
Or great, like everything else. I mean,
No, we want to wrap it up by the end before the end of the summer.
All right, anything else?
Oh, I'm all set.
All right, let's move on then. Committee reports, building committee. I can speak, I guess, to that. You can speak to that. We met last night. Good group. I like the committee. We had some good conversation last night, sort of where we're at and what we're waiting for to move forward, and obviously eager to get the word out there and let the community know, what we're up to, and the wanting to be proactive about that as the process goes on, and not wait until we can do a major presentation, but to be able to provide information as we go.
yeah, we got a lot of good. It's great educating the building committee because there's a lot of questions for them, and if they have them, so will the public. And so I'm eager to get out there and probably. Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but probably mid to late August is probably when we're going to start our campaign for education. We might not have numbers out there, but if we start, the earlier we start it, the better, I think. And I'm eager to get it started. I think it'll be good.
Right. Well, Helen wasn't there last night, but she's been there other nights. I don't know if you have any other thoughts that you want to throw out there about the building committee?
No, I mean, the only thing I can add to this is, I know one of the selectmen in Northfield has a meeting every month on a Saturday, calls it a listening session. And a few people come, it's not like it's a big meeting, but at that meeting, which we had this last Saturday, I actually gave them an update of what I knew to that point. So it's just another vehicle to communicate to the people that may be able to help us continue communicating. So.
And we talked about other areas, putting together updates that can be published in the Northfield newsletter, and the Senior Center has a newsletter that they put out that maybe we could, put information in there as well. So thinking about those types of ways to get the word out that what we're doing. So, any questions? We're going to go into some more here when we get into old business. So if there's no other specific questions about the building committee, I think this flows right into that.
Okay.
So just an update on where we are with the SMP contract and the construction manager request for qualifications.
So the SMP proposal, I sent that to you. This was the final agreed to copy between you authorized Courtney from DTC Lawyers to engage with Jason and his lawyer from SMP Architecture. You can see all the changes; they're all there. Everything's good. They consider it good. I mean, you kind of conditionally approved it. So if you guys got to review it, we're just awaiting your signature. Kathy has the actual copy to sign. I don't know if you had any questions on the document itself, or if you were able to review it when I sent it out the other day. But again, it's just mostly protecting us legally going forward.
one area that I was wanting to make sure we included in there was the invoicing.
Yep, and they changed that, so it's 30% due upon the execution of
Yeah,
the
I see
agreement. Okay, yep.
Is SMP okay with that?
Yep, he said he's never billed like that before, but he has no problem. He said it's usually just a monthly bill, but that's okay. Yep, and he said during this process he's not going to have contractors running him down for money, so it's, yeah, he was okay with it. And
Yeah, that was
Where did we land with the whole insurance component to this? Remember they wanted more coverage and.
she recommends it.
She
That was the legal counsel recommends getting that insurance
and
coverage.
that was extra
$800.
We need to vote to approve. We gave conditional approval prior.
You voted for, you voted conditionally approval, you just wanted the lawyer to.
Based on the, it wasn't on this, so I'll make a motion, we agree that we approving the final resolved attorney approved version of the SMP contract.
Alright, is there a second?
Second it.
Okay, motion's made and seconded. Any additional discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Alright, let's move on to the construction management RFQ. Chief, you want to give us an update?
Yep, so the RFQ was distributed through SMP's list. We added one company to that. We also posted on the New Hampshire Municipal Association's classified ad page. It was placed in the Laconia Daily Sun. It was placed in the Union Leader. And then it was also placed on, I don't know what it is, but the Construction Summary of New Hampshire, Maine, and Vermont. I don't know what that is, but it's another publication. I just got this document at 5 minutes of 5. That's why I haven't emailed it to you. We have one submission already in that is from Rearch Construction. Then we have 5 others that that Jason has heard from that will be submitting. Then I had an additional company call me and say they will be submitting. So it looks like we have about 7 proposals we're expecting on Thursday. I had a long conversation with Turnstone Construction today. They're the ones who built the. They reached out to me. I know one of the partners I golfed with, his father, he since passed away, but that's why they reached out to me. They built the New Boston Fire Station, so they wanted just some questions and about previous processes. So we should have at least 7 submissions on Thursday at 3 p.m. I think is when they're due, and then we have our meeting on Monday evening for you guys to. You'll have those submissions on Thursday. We'll send those out to you.
Yeah.
You'll have the weekend to review them. You'll have your meeting and you make your short list on Monday evening.
But this is just, Thursday is just they're sending their qualifications.
Here's
and
our
their
resume. Here's our resume. And then once you generate that short list and
Then you go request for a bid.
so whoever your short list is, we just submit those requests for proposals to your short list. It
Yeah.
doesn't go out to everybody. And so I have a copy. When we get to new business, you'll see what we have so far for the RFP. The lawyer and Jason have been working
Yeah.
together, and myself, but mostly them, on getting that RFP ready to be sent out. So it's pretty close. So we just got to finalize some wording. And so on next Tuesday morning, we'll send that RFP out to whoever your short list is, and we should be off and running.
Any questions? I know Helen, we discussed this.
Questions answered, so
Okay. We had this discussion last night at the meeting, and I don't know if you would have received this document.
Oh, well, but it's online, so I was looking at it already.
And that has all the dates of
Schedules.
it. So you're,
I'm up to speed, I guess.
okay. Well, you know, Helen, you're one of the folks that has experience with this kind of stuff. So when you ask questions, I listen intently.
Thank you.
So, because like last night's meeting, you know, we take a lot of things for granted, and then somebody will ask a question, and you're like, oh, didn't even realize that. And you know, it's that kind of, everybody knows we need a new fire station, right? Well, no. And everybody knows where the fire station is.
No.
No. And everybody knows that we have 24-hour coverage, right? And then you start to realize that there's a lot of people out there that don't. So it was very educational last night.
In the book,
Very good question.
In this
Great
whole book, that's the whole forward that people don't read that
Right.
to get to the chapter 1. Where
We find if people haven't had to call 911, they often don't know anything about us.
And I see the trucks in Old Home Parade. And
they think they call for an ambulance that they're going to get Stewart or something. They don't, you know, they don't have that discernment.
All right, so any other old business? All right, moving on, let's go to new business.
Do you want to do B first?
Yeah, I was wondering why that order was
I
there.
think it was just because we,
It's alphabetical.
yeah.
So, construction manager RFP, you sort of alluded to the fact that they're working on that.
Mhm. And in your packet, I believe I sent it out to you also by email, but in your packet, you'll see the comments, the red and the blue,
Yes.
and the comments on the side. So I think the final version is gonna look very similar to this. I just, I want you guys to be able to have any input and let me know anything you want changed, if you like the way it looks. My one question for Jason tomorrow is going to be on the first page, the fourth bullet. He has a value in here, where he came up with that value. We didn't give him that value. So I just wanna make sure you're okay with that and where he got that value from. And whether that, I don't know. I know sometimes when you put values on things, people can get, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was one of my big questions. I don't know if you have that same one or not.
And I'm not a contractor, but I would wonder why you would word that bullet that way at all.
And maybe that's just, and a lot of this stuff is like, they're in the business and they understand it. Maybe it's just trying to give the contractors an idea of how much this is gonna cost. So they don't come back with a $30 million price tag on top of it. So I haven't reached out and asked why that's there.
I'd be curious to hear what the response is.
Yeah, and we can actually, we're meeting with them Thursday, right? So
Right.
we can ask that Thursday as well.
So who did the review on this one?
Courtney from the same lawyer.
It's still Court.
Courtney, yep.
Yeah.
Eric has been on vacation.
He's still out. Okay.
Yep. He's back now, but Courtney's been great. She does a very good job.
But we got the phones for this from SMP.
From SMP,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's cool.
I like that it's short.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of 25 pages
Yeah.
of boilerplate we will use.
And then once you pick a construction manager, you'll have a proposal contract just like the one with S&P and DTC will go over that and all that kind of stuff.
Any other questions on that? All right, you all set, Paul?
No, I'm all set here.
Okay. CIP.
One of the things you asked me earlier in the year is to have the CIP mid-year out and so you guys can review. The first document is the current CIP, and the second document is just a draft proposal. It is no way, shape, or form has to be this. It was just my take on a little easier to understand CIP, and I added a few things that cost, like the SCBA and the radios, that will be significant purchases that hopefully we can get through grants, but we can't plan on grants, that far in advance. So I don't know if you guys got a chance to review them and look at them, or I changed some service lives in some vehicles. I've extended the engine life out a couple years. Defined the ambulance life, we didn't really have it defined. The ladder and the tanker are about the same. Added the SCBA's of portables. Inflation rates. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. No one has a crystal ball. I thought this year, I actually just got it, CIPU, for the year we use from June to June. The first half is the one that we've been using. We used it last year in the budget process. It was 3.5%. That's where I got the 3.5%. So we knew it was trending that way anyway. So instead of doing a dollar amount, which kind of didn't make sense to me for everything on the bottom half, because on the old one it did $1,000 a year. I don't know what, it's kind of, so I did a 3.5% inflation throughout the whole document. So everything has a 3.5. So our revenue has a 3.5%, and then our expenditures have a 3.5%. And this is one of those documents you update every couple of years, and so.
Well, can I start, because I have a question about the life of some of the vehicles.
Mhm.
And I remember, we talked about, well, we're going to buy a new ambulance every 5 years, we'll want them for 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the conversation, is that a real number with the amount of calls we're doing? And there was a discussion about, well, we're buying better quality equipment until the upper oil tank goes, and the gas system doesn't work. But, in theory, they should last. But I see now, like on the ambulance, we're down to 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years front line and then 4 years. I mean, this is just my suggestion.
Yeah.
You can, my suggestion is run it for 8 years front line and 4 years as reserve.
And I guess, we're looking at A1, which is a 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're getting 9 years out of it because we're replacing it, in theory, with A3.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So then you have A2 to be replaced, which is a 2022. And you have that being replaced in 34.
2030. Did I put? Oh, I see what you're saying. So in 2034, A2 will be replaced, but the last 4 years of its life
okay.
it would rerun as reserve. So I have A1 being replaced in 2030.
And I think it's
And A2 will go to reserve in 2030.
It's a little funky initially because we're just getting into it with the 30 year old.
Right.
And yellow's one to buy.
Right, okay. So I was looking at A2 and seeing that 34, okay.
Yeah, so that'll give it, so the last 4 years of A2 will be in reserve, like A1's not. They'll still be used, because.
Right. So we're thinking 8 years instead of
10.
Well, 12 years. We'll have it for
8 plus
12.
4.
right.
So keep them for 12 years, but keep 3 in rotation.
All right, and then I've always had a problem with the old one with the engine, replacing a engine at 8 years.
Yeah, so if you see, I pushed one of the engines out to 2032, where in the old CIP was 2030, and then I pushed the other engine out to 2037, which was 2035. So I pushed them both out 2 years.
Is 10 years? I mean, it seems like an engine ought to be good for more than 10 years.
So 11 years. I would too.
think so, but-
I would too. I don't know. Engine ones haven't brought, I'm sorry, engine two, I always say engine one and engine two wrong, because engine two is the older one. We just put another set of tires on it, it chews through. I mean, we can try to keep it, that's a discussion we can have in 2030. You can push these off.
Are you running them equally? They have about the
Yes.
same amount of hours.
Yeah, and
miles
the
on
older one has, I think, 5,000 or 6,000 miles. I could actually look it up
them. More.
more.
But it's a year older.
Right, but we are alternating month to
They're
month.
doing the odd even,
Yeah.
Yeah. Where did I put that document?
which is good, because if it's an even numbered month and I see an odd numbered engine go by, the first thing I think is
What's
what's
wrong?
broken?
What's in the shop?
See,
right?
no, I was like, well, that must be a second alarm.
Nah, just
So in March, they had about 3,000 miles difference, so they were very close.
Yeah, well, it's, I don't know if it's unfortunate or we just happened to buy those two trucks 1 year apart. Meaning that you're gonna
Yeah.
end up having to replace
So
them both.
when we purchased the ladder, and you can't go back in time. Well, we used to have 3 engines, just like we have 3 ambulances. One was a reserve piece, and we ran 2 front line. We were back and forth, and then that third engine ran as a reserve piece. When we bought the ladder, we said we'll buy a Quint. That can be our reserve engine, and that's good in theory, but right now we can't run it because we can't have it at Center Street. So that ladder, being the Quint, is stuck at Park Street. If we get a new station, things can change and we can run that. But not having that third reserve engine is, I think, putting a little more wear and tear on the engines too. I would love to sit here and tell you an engine can last 15 to 20 years. I don't believe our engine 2 will. But that doesn't mean it won't. It does not need to be replaced today. I can tell you that. And so this was just kind of a guesstimate.
Yeah.
you could buy 2 the same year and you're just gonna get lucky with one and not. Things are so unpredictable now and stuff.
I think more than anything, the quality of things now are not as good as they used
Yeah,
to
there's
be.
challenges.
Everything is,
Quality and complexity.
Yeah, you can
There's so many things we want them to do that make them so tough to repair, work on, but millions of more things that can break that'll cause the thing to stop.
I mean, we have 2 identical pieces. They couldn't be any more similar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? And they're gonna lead very different lives, even though
Yes.
they're running the same beat,
Captain Ames was putting a power block in today for our new iPads. We got rid of the HPUEs and the cradle points that were for that Haas alert system
Yeah,
to
yeah.
save us some money on our cell phone bill. And so we had to put a new charging port in for those iPads that we're getting to replace those. And he had the cover off and he had to calm me down because there's a little burnt wire. We're going to figure out nothing's acting wrong, but there's a burnt wire, so we need to investigate it. And he had that panel off and I was looking at it. I'm like, what is this?
It's all spaghetti, right?
Yeah, it's like the electronics are insane in these trucks,
Yeah.
and just where an old 62 Mac probably
Oh,
has
a
wires.
couple of headlights.
It has a red, a black,
Yeah,
spark,
exactly.
fuel,
Is-
compression.
Is the ladder a DEF engine
Yes.
truck? But the tanker is old enough that it's not.
Correct.
So the tanker we replace tires because they dry rot.
Yeah, I don't think we have ever.
We replaced them.
Did we replace them
in
once?
my term here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe once.
Because the insurance company made us.
Yeah,
Because there was we had plenty of tread on.
I think they're up on another 10 years
Yeah.
this year.
So engine 2, our oldest engine, that's the one that came and they had to jack the front of the truck up and change the angle and stuff. We just put the second set of tires on it yesterday. So we've gone through 2 sets of tires in less than 30,000 miles, and it's just chew. And he said they were bad.
Yeah.
It's the inner duals, and it's hard to see them, and then it's the outer portions of the front, the steering tires.
All right. So
And this is your CIP. If you want me to change engine, I don't want to tell. This is just my recommendation. I'm more than happy to move things around. Again, this is just a recommendation. I can completely change the document.
well, yeah, and obviously we don't know what the ambulance revenue is going to be. We don't know what inflation is going to be, and we don't know what the cost of the apparatus is going to be. But based on the information that you're using here, we're short in 2038
Mm-hmm.
because we're buying
A ladder.
a ladder truck.
The ladder will be 25 years old. And I probably won't be the fire chief in 2038. You never know. Things can happen. But my suggestion to the fire chief and the commission in 2038, when they go to buy a ladder truck, will be, why don't you do a 5-year lease purchase, and then you won't go negative in this account. That would be my suggestion. But that'll be a decision for. I almost put it on here as a 5-year lease purchase, and I said that's not my decision to make.
But you did note that. I read that somewhere.
I wrote in my email to you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of different decisions.
Mike, what was the price of that tanker truck?
Oh, it's right on the front.
230.
230.
Yeah, 230. And we got a grant on that. So I believe it was a net zero to us. We're close to it.
And its replacement will be 1.1 million.
Now, ladder saying 25-year service life, there is a point where you can't certify it anymore, right?
I've been told 25 years is the time.
Is it? Yeah.
I don't know, but you see trucks that are older than that running. I don't know
Yeah.
the real answer to it.
Yeah.
But your insurance company might not cover it. There might not be. But I believe it's a 25-year life on the aerial device.
Yeah.
I don't know that for 100%.
How many miles is that truck now? Sorry, I should
No,
have asked
I can tell you what it has in March, which it hasn't put any. I can tell you it hasn't put many miles on since then.
2013.
In March,
21.
the ladder had 16,184. It had 1,600 hours, 1,680 hours. So
I'm sorry, give me the
Maybe by then,
you want
I'd be better some towns get together and just purchase one.
hours.
hours were 1,681.
Yeah.
Miles were 16,184.
Have you had any conversations with, I don't know, any other resources that would help you?
No, I know Chief Sitar last year went through and actually got, not quotes, but written, a verbal proposal from, Sutphin and the other companies. How much will this cost, in today's dollars? And that's where he got those figures. And just from talking to other fire chiefs and hearing what apparatus costs, I think the today's dollars on here are very, close to accurate. And it's so dependent on what you buy. If we buy a truck that's bolted together, we could buy it a lot cheaper, but it's going to rattle apart in 6 years, and that's why we never bought a truck like that. And if we go out and buy a Seagrave, it's going to be a lot more expensive than this. We don't, we've always bought those mid-grade trucks. And,
Or we'd have to hot rod it to fit in a tiny little 200-year-old building.
yeah, cost you more money because it's. So I think these are, as today's figures, and then the ambulances we just paid for it, so we know, and we had that quote last year. We ended up not putting it on the warrant last year. Hopefully, we'll have one on the warrant this year.
Oh, that reminds me, when you were talking about getting it certified, A3, moving all the equipment over, aren't we purchasing off all the equipment we need, and we just haven't done that yet?
So this was like stuff like the Band-Aid boxes, and so all the big stuff we had. So the stretcher we had, the IV pumps we had, the monitor we had, the auto pulse we had, all those things. But it's all the little stuff, like we didn't have like the little bins to put all the oxygen tubing in yet.
We were expediting that process because of the trucks out of service. So it was
Yeah.
like grab the bins out of this one and put them in that one, so that this thing will be in service in an hour and a half.
But in the next couple of weeks, you're going to need to be able to have all of them.
Oh yeah, so we have a plan, and
Okay.
and Captain Gilman, I think, has a good. Captain Gilman and Deputy Stetson have a great plan. So making it work and pivoting when they need to pivot worked great.
Any more questions on this? Certainly some interesting rainy day.
Yeah, you guys can, I mean, you could take months, you could take 6
Yeah.
months to review this.
Yeah.
This is just, I'm just proposing and you guys can think and tell me how you want to change.
Can you send this as a file so I can see it on my computer?
Did I just send it as PDF? Yeah.
So,
Yep, I can.
can you send it as a?
Do you want both the old one and the new one as a file?
No, just the new one.
Just the new one? Okay.
All right, anything else on the CIP?
Okay. Questions swimming. I'm going to wait till we put this in on time.
Do you
I
have
don't.
a pen to write notes?
No.
Okay. All right. Next is Tilton Selectmen meeting.
So, they have canceled that. So I talked to, the town administrator yesterday. They feel right now there's a bunch of new board members. They want to have discussions on their own and see where we go in our process and then schedule a meeting later on. So that was scheduled for the 23rd. They've taken you off the agenda and they're going to reapproach it a different time. That's really all. It was a quick conversation, and we had our meeting starting, so I wasn't able to
Get a sense.
get a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I think it was more educating the new members of the.
When was the last time you met with the?
Probably a month and a half ago. I'm scheduled to meet with the select boards on. I'm going to Northfield on September 1st, and I am going to Tilton on September 3rd.
Okay. Do you come with an agenda that you want to cover?
So what I do is, my plan is to go through my chief's notes for the past couple quarters, pick out just the highlights and the bright spots, and just go over. They don't need to know every nitty-gritty, nitty-gritty detail. But just hit the high spots of what we're doing, where we're going. I'll probably talk about run cards because that's a big one. I'll definitely talk about the building, and then just call stats and let them ask any questions.
Yeah. Well, I'd be very curious on the questions, but I suppose I can watch the meetings. We'll go to them, I guess. What are those dates?
September
Third.
1st and 3rd. No, Labor Day is the 7th. Yeah, the week before Labor Day.
Oh, it's late.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
September
Memorial Day.
First
Early.
is Northfield, and September 3rd is Tilton.
What time are you on the agenda? Do you know?
I don't know. They usually let me know the day before. I know Scott puts me right on the agenda first to get me a note, and Stephanie put me pretty early last time too. So.
Thank you. All right. Any other new business? No. I just want to take a moment to thank Kathy for ever being able to assist in making up agendas and getting them posted and getting them sent out to the members as reminders to the meeting. That worked really well with the building committee. Kevin and I sort of came up with an agenda, and Kathy was happy to help us with that. Thank you. Right, review of minutes. Do you have copies of minutes?
I'm not
Do.
done. You gentlemen, have a good night.
Have a good night, Ellen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ellen.
And we want a complete review on that movie you're going to.
Now you have to
Three
wait now.
packets
It's like 2-week anticipation.
All right. Oh, this is three.
Three.
Just all set. All
Yes,
set.
everybody gets a little set.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So I always take the hours and figured that you have a personal vehicle and or a work vehicle, that you would average 30 miles an hour with it. So, I mean, the reality is,
50,000 miles.
that's 50,000 miles on a ladder truck, based on the hours. Now, you want to argue about, well, a lot of that's idling. Yeah, the worst thing you can do to a diesel engine, I'd rather have a 50,000
And a
mile.
death engine.
Exactly, well, even worse.
We've seen that movie.
But, You know, so I just always like to make that comparison when somebody throws out, it's only got, you know, so many hours on it. That equates to your vehicle or an on-road vehicle to be 50,000 miles.
And what's your calculation?
I figure 30 miles an hour if you average,
Okay.
and then that may be low. I mean, considering that you do idle at the grocery store waiting for your wife, but you get on the highway and do 30, but you know, you do 30, 35, so does it average out to 30? I think that's a
And then if you're
conservative.
idle, because you rented a PTO to run pumps and run.
Well,
That's a
absolutely.
whole nother level that people don't think about.
Exactly.
These engines are under load, even when they're parked.
Well, when we get towards district meeting, you know, to get an update, which is probably that list you were just looking at.
Yep.
Hours, miles.
Yep, that's from right before district meeting,
Yeah.
and so, yeah.
And then I'm going to do that calculation. Do the ambulance, they have hour meters on
Yep.
them? Everything?
Yeah. They have a lot.
That's 10,000 hours is kind of on the high end, right, for a diesel?
It's when you should start to a piece of construction equipment. Yeah, we always on the smaller stuff was 10 to 14,000 hours. Bigger stuff, that's a lot heavier iron. You know, you can push 18. When I was doing a lot of complete certified rebuilds, the bigger stuff, you know, we always push for 18 to 20,000 hours. Plus they were $600,000 rebuilds. On new ones, rebuilds.
And those aren't today's numbers.
Yeah, that's right. And again, how well you take care of it, but there were people that said, you know, 10,000 hours, Jesus, I mean, a busy piece of equipment was 1,600 hours a year.
And you don't know what life it's leading, if it's breaking rocks or it's living in a salt shed and
Right.
rotting out from the doors up.
Or the idiot or the professional that's sitting in the seat.
Yeah, not checking the oil, not doing the PMs,
Exactly.
not greasing anything.
And, you know, people used to argue, well, and this is why I use this a lot, you know, would say, well, it's only got 10,000 hours on it. All right, well, if that was one of your on-highway trucks, is it fair to say it averages 30 miles an hour? Well, 10,000 hours is 300,000 miles. You know, so would you be upset right now if your on-highway truck had 300,000 miles on it and you had a problem? No, you probably wouldn't. But, you know, and they can be rebuilt if you buy, you know, one of the quality products, you know, the Caterpillars, the John Deeres, you know, Komatsus or whatever, but when you start looking at what's the one on 140, TCM, I think is the dealership, I think is A1 or something like that. SR1, yeah. But his products are TCM. Hangsu, Kumutskan, and Mingan To are the three people that own that tractor company. You ever had one of those?
I'm amazed that you were able to pronounce
Yeah,
those.
it's probably wrong, but I looked into them because they're significantly cheaper. No question about it. They're a South Korean product. So when you go to compare, you know, your Kubota, your John Deere, your Case,
Your Mahindra kind of.
you gotta think about all that stuff, that's all.
Right.
And-
I have a Mahindra with I think it's a Mitsubishi diesel engine.
And Mitzi's good, you know. And for someone like yourself, probably a smart purchase. Now, if you
110
buy a
hours
farm,
in 5 years.
if you buy a farm and you use it every day, you may want to reconsider all that.
I'm not going into
Exactly.
You're not even going into gentleman
Well,
farming.
and That's why,
I
you
don't
know,
have a dog.
people will ask me, what are you gonna do with it? And what are you gonna be happy with? You don't make me happy.
All right, let's move through the minutes. I had previously reviewed 3 of them, which I have here. One of them I lost somewhere along the way. So I'd like to move the minutes of the June 6, 2026 minutes to the floor for discussion and approval.
June 6th, or 15th?
What did I say? I was looking-
6th.
I'm sorry, June 15th, 2026.
Okay.
Saw the 6s there. Okay.
Second.
Yes.
Right, motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion, corrections?
I read these.
Paul, are you still reviewing those, or?
No, I'm all set.
All right, so we got a motion. All those in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, I'll move the minutes of June 16th, 2026 to the floor for discussion and approval.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any questions, concerns, corrections? I was happy with these. Mackenzie is doing a great job.
Mackenzie loves doing minutes.
Does she?
She does.
I mean, a lot of detail, but. All right, everybody happy with that? Ready for a vote? All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I'll move the minutes of June 18th, 2026 to the floor for discussion and approval.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any questions, concerns, corrections?
Okay, let us know if you need anything.
Any concerns? All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I'd like to move the minutes of the June 30th, 2026 meeting to the floor for discussion and approval. Motion's been made, seconded by
I second it.
Paul. I do have a concern in the first paragraph on correspondence, the third sentence. He explained that the companies are looking for feedback, so he reached out
Close enough.
to the city manager looking for advice.
Well,
I think we're missing some verbiage.
Chicks like Scott, because they have our meetings.
So,
I don't need more than 55.
gave me all these. I should have a copy right here. Someone. Chief,
What do you need?
can you please look at the first, the paragraph there under correspondence? Third sentence. He explained that the companies are looking for feedback, so he reached out to the city manager looking for advice. That was a quote you made, but that's not what you said.
I looked, did I reach out to a city manager? Or
The
how?
city manager,
How to respond back to all these questions we were getting from the folks that didn't get the bid?
Yeah.
I don't remember who you talked to.
I know who I talked to, I don't think I said his name though.
I
But
don't
it was
think you
a
do.
city manager.
Yeah, a
Oh,
city manager.
okay.
should we say a local?
A local,
An area, city name, nearby, a neighbor.
Can we tweak that wording a little bit?
Okay, that under correspondence, the third paragraph,
Third sentence.
third sentence of the first paragraph.
Yeah.
So,
It should read,
So you reached out to a peer,
Yeah, we can,
because it doesn't, then that blankets.
reached out to a peer.
yeah. And I'm not sure I'd want to do advice or
peer.
guidance.
it was guidance.
Peer or colleague. Yeah.
Reached out to a peer for looking for guidance.
Pretty more accurate.
Thank you.
You want?
Oh, I have more. I must have stolen them all somehow.
That was the only issue I had with that set of minutes. Mike, would you be able to give Jason a ride home? I usually do, but I have a meeting in Belmont at 7.
You're more than happy.
Is that all right with you?
Right
Hopefully
along
he'll
the way.
stop and let you get out and not just push you out.
Keeps walking. He didn't even have to stop.
All right, everyone okay with those minutes?
That's fine.
All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes of June 30th, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, do we have non-public minutes?
There with your minutes.
Those are the ones I handed you. They got stuck to my paper.
Okay.
There you go.
Yep.
June 60. Session 2. This is new longer. You feel like you've been worked a long month last month?
What did I,
This was
what?
done June 60.
June 60th. The month that never ended. All right.
Okay.
Which goes back to your June 6th, opening.
All right, I'm going to move the minutes, the non-public session 1 from June 30th to the floor for discussion and approval.
Second.
All right, any issues with that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I'll move the minutes of the non-public session 2 from June 30th, 2026 to the floor for discussion and approval.
Second.
I'd like to correct the date.
On the disposition reports, 1995. Did they go back that far?
Well, the date of the
Probably
document
not.
and the disposition report is 1/1/1995.
They might have.
There might be one that.
They probably did go back that far.
Yeah. Okay. Because we had one that was a weird one. Yeah, there was some weird.
I could,
That's right.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot of work done that.
All right, all those in favor of approving the non-public session 2 minutes with the corrected date, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion
Good
carries.
thing it was a long month.
Get it all done.
All right, only other business we have is disposition reports. Do we have disposition reports?
no, we do not. We can get rid of that. Just manifest.
All right, so we don't need the non-public,
No.
and we can review manifest.
Let's do that.
Thank you. Oh, I just love June 60.
Yeah.
saunter up, get my truck, take your time.
That's all I can do.
You know,
Thanks.
yeah, don't run up. Ugh. All right, stay cool. Have a good night all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
I'll see you Friday. No, that's right. We already talked about that.
Monday maybe?
No,
Yeah. Well, I'll see you Monday anyway.
We got a family reunion this weekend, and first generation grandchildren that are all now in their 40s and 50s. We're gonna have a cocktail hour at the Black Swan Inn.
Oh, that's cool.
And the girls have gone through all the pictures of when, you know, I was in my 20s, and
Is that lady still on it? They're the one that bought it off?
my mother, oh no, that's changed hands 3 or 4 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But the girls went through and found pictures of me when I was in my 20s and the first generation grandchildren, you know, were in their, 3, 4, 5 years old. But there was pictures of them in the house. Kind of neat. They've done a good job powering all through it.
I've seen your sister, I don't know how many times. She's come in the store. The one that got a place in Laconia?
Yeah, Sally. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she came in, I think, last year.
Yeah, she's always
Talked to her.
tinkering or something with her house. Well, she got a nice little spot up.
Yeah, she does. I was there, actually.
Were you? Yeah, is that
I measured some for her.
cute place. Well, and she's got that little cabin next door too. All right. Have a good night, all.
You too.
Have a good one.
Don't forget Jason.
I won't forget Jason. Everybody else did. I didn't.
Yeah.
All right, any other business? Sorry for running long, but thank you for going into all the detail. Thank you, Stetson. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
You got it. Motion to adjourn.
Motion
I'll
to
second it.
adjourn, made and seconded. It is 7:08 p.m.